The boy who sold his inheritance, as told by Mzi Baraka of Kigudu village. If you have ever sat under the old Iroko tree in Kigudu and listened to the wind, then you've likely heard this story whispered between its branches. I remember it not as a tale, but as a truth I watched unfold with these very eyes. It is the story of a boy named Chalo, whose heart was too big for the world and who gave away everything just to save a friend. Chalo was the son of Mama Chieng, a quiet, widowed woman who sold roasted maize by the roadside. His father, may he rest well among the ancestors, had died when Chalo was 10, leaving behind nothing but a half-acre of land near the river bend and a carved wooden stool that Chalo sat on every evening while washing his feet. Our village, Kigudu, sat between the hills of Kitulo and the plains that rolled toward Lake Nyasa. Life here moved with the sun, slow and honest. We farmed cassava, herded goats, and fetched water from the same stream our grandmothers once bathed in. People knew one another by name and by story. Chalo grew up as most village boys do, barefoot, curious, and always with red soil between his toes. But there was something gentle in him. He never fought with the other boys, not even when they mocked his old shirts or the way he stammered when nervous. Instead, he smiled and offered help, carrying firewood for old Mama Zubeda or picking mangoes for children who couldn't climb trees. When he turned 17, Chalo's closest friend was a boy named Bakari. Now Bakari was different, lively, charming, and always cracking jokes that made your ribs hurt. They were like ugali and sukuma, different textures but always found together. One season, Bakari fell ill. It started with fevers and swollen joints. At first we thought it was malaria, but even after the herbalists tried every root and bark they knew, Bakari's body weakened. He couldn't walk, couldn't eat much, and his laughter vanished like dew at sunrise. Word came that he needed treatment in Ibea town. Almost 2 days travel by bus, and more money than most of us saw in a season. Bakari's mother, Mama Halima, wept at his bedside. She had already sold her chickens and borrowed from everyone she could. I remember her sitting outside her hut one evening, her arms wrapped around her knees, whispering prayers into her folded skirt. That night, I was on my way back from the borehole when I saw Chalo sitting alone on his father's carved stool. He was holding the land deed, the one thing his mother had kept in a tin box under her bed for years. I asked him what he was doing, but he just looked at me with eyes too old for a 17-year-old boy. "I'm going to sell it," he said. "The land." I told him he was mad. That land had been in his family for 3 generations. It was where his father was buried, where his mother wanted to grow onions when she grew old. But Chalo didn't waver. "If I had the fever," he said, "Bakari would have already carried me to the hospital himself." I went to Mama Aching that night. I thought surely she would stop him. But she only nodded slowly, her eyes glistening. "I tried to stop him," she said. "But how do you stop a river when its heart is flooding?" The next week, a man from the city came in a shiny blue Prado, wearing sunglasses and speaking Kiswahili with a city accent. Chalo sold the land for less than it was worth. Desperation always cost the price. The money paid for Bakari's transport, hospital fees, and treatment. Bakari left in a battered Matatu van, weak but hopeful, and for weeks we prayed for news. Finally, a letter arrived. Bakari was healing. The fever had broken. He had begun walking again with help from nurses. The village rejoiced, but Chalo, he didn't celebrate much. He returned to his maize roasting, helping his mother near the road, a little quieter than before. Months passed. Bakari came back, walking slowly but upright. wearing new clothes and city shoes. Everyone ran to greet him. Everyone except Chalo. He stood under the Iroko, arms crossed, watching from afar. At first, Bakari was full of praise for his brother, as he used to call Chalo. But soon, a change began to grow in him. He started boasting about city life, about girls who liked his new walk, about how he'd be leaving this dusty village behind soon. He stopped coming to help Mama Jiang, stopped sharing jokes with Chalo. Then, one market day, he passed by Chalo and laughed with some boys. "Look at this one," he said loud enough for everyone to hear. "Still roasting maize like a bush boy." I saw Chalo freeze, his hands clenched, but he said nothing. He simply turned and walked away, maize roasting forgotten. That evening, I found Chalo again on the old stool, head bowed. "Maybe I was wrong," he whispered. I sat beside him. "No, Chalo," I said, "you were never wrong. Love is not wrong. Kindness is not wrong. But people, they can't forget." Bakari left the village the next week, off to some factory job in the city. He didn't say goodbye to Chalo, didn't even look back. Years passed. Chalo stayed, helped his mother, saved bit by bit. People forgot the land, but not me. One dry season, a government man came, asking to build a borehole near the river bend. But the land now belonged to the city man. He refused, saying the place would be a resort one day. The project died before it lived. That evening, I found Chalo again on the old stool, head bowed. "Maybe I was wrong," he whispered. I sat beside him. "No, Chalo," I said, "you were never wrong. Love is not wrong. Kindness is not wrong. But people, they can't forget." Bakari left the village the next week, off to some factory job in the city. He didn't say goodbye to Chalo, didn't even look back. Years passed. Chalo stayed, helped his mother, saved bit by bit. People forgot the land, but not me. One dry season, a government man came, asking to build a borehole near the river bend. But the land now belonged to the city man. He refused, saying the place would be a resort one day. The project died before it lived, and that's when people remembered. They remembered the boy who had once given away his only land to save a friend, and who had been left behind. But Chalo, he never spoke of it again. Today, he still sells roasted maize, now beside his own small stall near the market square. His hands are rough, his eyes quiet, but when you look closely, you see strength there, a kind of strength not built on money or praise, but sacrifice. So when people say kindness is weakness, I tell them about Chalo. And when the wind blows through Kigudu, rustling the leaves of the Iroko, I know it's carrying his story far, so others might remember what it means to give without expecting. The Ender.